Hi, this is Homay from Spitfire Audio, and we're going to have a look at one of my sessions from the BBC Symphony Orchestra demo that I've done for the library. Have a little look at the library itself, which comes in our own player. And there's a couple of things I want to point out that are incredible and really handy to have within this wonderful all-in-one orchestra library. Let's have a listen first, though, and then get to it. All right, so a few things about the library itself. It's a 99-piece orchestra. You have 55 different instruments, loads of different signals to choose from. And it has also been recorded at the legendary Maida Vale Studio One, which has also been the home to the BBC Orchestra. And I still find it incredible that you can play this orchestra that has played so many incredible scores and has been together for so many years. And I think that really comes through in the sound in this library. Going back to my composition, I started with the harp, mostly because when I was playing around with this and exploring the library, I fell in love with the sound. I really liked the tone of this. Just a quick look, you also have a Bispigliando here. Really lovely. I'm just going to turn off the reverb so you can hear it without. You have a medium damped articulation here. Gliss. And a sustained sound. So I used the dampened one so it's not ringing out for so long. I want to try and write a waltz and put down this chord progression first. So that's G minor, D minor, A flat major, C just in fifths. I left out the third within there. Then I have the E flat major, F major, C minor, F major again. So from here on, I was trying to see which direction I can take it in and also what textures to layer it with. So I've added the celeste. Rather than just copying what the harp is doing, I'm trying to emphasize the 3/4 feel by coming in on the 2 and the 3 and also having a slight counter movement with it. Still thinking how I can make this a little bit more interesting texturally, so I've loaded a Viola patch, and just to have a quick look at the GUI itself, you have here nicely your instruments all lined up, and then you can also shortcut to your woodwinds or brass, percussion, strings. So I've got this viola all in one patch. At the beginning, I was trying to see which articulation I liked, tried them all out, and decided on a Collegno patch. Just really nice and subtly in the background. And also added some double bass pizzicato. I needed something on the 1. Okay, so I've got a nice structure as an accompaniment. I can now have some fun with a melody. So I went into first violins. And what's amazing, you get a lot of legato patches within this library as well. And quickly, what I'm using here is some faders. It's a MIDI control center control freak, but the one I usually use is from Chord, is a little nano control. And I've got expression and dynamics that I'm manipulating here. And these are really essential to try and make the instruments, especially when they're long, sound as natural as possible. I'm just turning off the reverb so you can hear it better. Expression is pretty much like an overall volume. You can hear the sound dies away instantly, whilst dynamics, in this case, is pretty much the pressure that you apply from the bow against the strings, and it goes from pianissimo to fortissimo, or varying degrees. I sometimes help with the expression as well, but then I try to leave it and continue with dynamics as much as I can help it. As with the accompaniment, I wanted with the melody a combination of different instruments as well. So I've got the piccolo and the oboe here. Again, you get those legato patches in that one too. Whilst I was doing this, I realized I wanted the woodwinds to take the lead on this one a little bit. So they're a little bit higher in the mix too. Then I added tension that I wanted to hold. So I've got these tremolo violins that are playing in octaves. That's plodding along nicely, and I felt it still needed an embellishment. So I'm adding some flute shorts here and also a cor anglais staccato. That phrase is now finished for me, and I want to move on to the next half of this section. By passing on the melody, I'm having the clarinet legatos and the cello take over. But it still needed a little bit of an elevation, so I introduced some long flautandos over here that are helping with a few swells. So that sounds a lot fuller already. At this point, I didn't actually have an intro, so I went back and repeated the first chord of the chord progression, still wanting to start with the celeste and the harp, and also holding the tension. So I extended the tremolo in the violins in octaves. I then also wanted to add an instrument that will be there in the beginning but drops out as soon as the melody starts. So I added a glockenspiel. And also these tremolos are now helping, bringing over and gluing together the intro into the first section. The end of this, I felt this chord progression can be repeated, but the way I transitioned into that repetition was by slowing it down a little bit and also adding this harp here. So it has this little run into the next part. Repeating that chord progression, I wanted to make sure that I'm bringing in slightly new elements and changing it up, making sure I've got enough variations to keep it interesting. So I've got some staccatos and spiccatos on the violin and cello. And also wanted to make it sound a little bit fuller and have a sustained sound in there. So I have a combination of violins and a horn legato here. So just comparing quickly to this. You can hear there's already a build happening within there. And for the melodies, the flute is now taking over, then to be harmonized by the oboe over here. Same principle as before, just having a few more embellishments using the oboe this time. For the second half of this section, I'm bringing back the violins on the long flautandos, as well as taking over the melody. So if I go into here, I can show you that from having just laid low a little bit is then building up into the melody. Here the harp is helping me accent that section as well. The next part needed a breakdown, and I wanted the celeste and the harp to play something else. So the celeste, for example, is playing this arpeggiated line. But I still wanted to have the waltz feel in there, so the violin staccato and viola pizzicato are keeping up the beat on the 2 and 3. whilst the tremolo is still keeping a little bit of tension that I've layered with the horn. Melodies coming back in here, this time the clarinet legato and the oboe legato and the cello. Here I felt it would be nice if we come back to the chord progression, come back to the beginning, but also make this the ending. But now, instead of building up, I want to come from a slightly higher dynamic, working towards to finish this piece. The difference that you have within this section is the violin staccatos and cello spiccatos. Bringing in a bit more tension, and then also you have a call and response in this version to the melody. So the response part is new with the violins playing in octaves. And instead of bringing back the long flatandos like I've done here, I'm trying to bring it down now. And that's everything to my composition. As a reverb, I've used a UAD lexicon, and throughout the piece, I've been panning some of the instruments as well, just making sure each of those have enough space. And that is it. So let's listen from the beginning to end. That's it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that was helpful. If you want to be notified for the next video, you can ding the bell button or you can subscribe. And equally, if you have any question, you can put them below. Otherwise, see you next time. Thank you.